Well, hello everyone, and welcome to WTF, Walk the Floors. My name is Michelle Klein. I am principal, founder, operator of Klein Hospitality Consulting, where we provide quality control, quality assurance type of audits in the hospitality industry, as well as training in process improvement. Stephanie?
Hi everyone, Stephanie Ledger, Chief Excellence Officer of First Rate Hospitality, based here in Miami. We are a boutique hospitality firm that specializes in training and brand standard auditing as well, and then also too with improvement in technology. It's great to be back.
It's great to be back. So what are we going to be doing today is, if you haven't seen any of our previous episodes, we encourage you to go do that. Otherwise, we'll give you a very quick intro as to what we do. So WTF was born a few years ago when Stephanie and I, in the same passion of finding solutions to what we believe may be problems or areas of opportunity in our industry, we started tagging each other with pictures of things that we would see when we were walking the floors. So what is our mission, Stephanie? Share with everyone.
So we want to make sure that we are having a little fun of talking about where we are walking the floors and our findings, but it's also too, it's a resource of how we can be making sure as the hospitality community, making sure that we are eliminating these breakdowns from happening, and from us as being operators also too in the hotel industry, is knowing how we can prevent from these things from happening so other guests don't see what we've seen in our findings.
Yes, indeed. And if you don't want to be the one behind that computer screen reading that nasty email from your guest, we do recommend that you walk the floor. So let's see what we have in store for today.
Well, today we're going to make sure we're keeping up with the theme with Thanksgiving coming up. So we're going to be talking about some of our Thanksgiving findings.
Oh, wonderful. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
Yes. All right, what have we got today, Michelle, for you?
All right, so this one is Turkey OD. So I will share with you what the backstory on this picture is. As we all know, I operate on the West Coast, and on the West Coast, buffets are very well known, especially in Nevada. And I was helping a property with a few things, both on the F&B side and on the hotel operations side. And there was this complaint that came up to risk management that had to do with someone out of everyone who had eaten at our buffet that week, and specifically that particular day, which happened to be Thanksgiving Day. That person got really, really sick after eating at our buffet and enjoying a feast in turkey and all of those delicious dishes that come along with accompanying the turkey for Thanksgiving. So the first thing that we did was, try to figure out were there any other complaints or concerns from any other guests, anyone who had potentially reported to the front desk feeling sick, to try to determine, is this something that could have affected everyone at the buffet? And perhaps sometimes there's bacteria, and we have to make sure that we stay on top of that and that we report it to the health district. So we couldn't find any of that. It was only one guest. The other person that was with the guest who had placed the complaint was not feeling sick at all. They had both eaten the same food, just like everybody else who had visited the buffet that day. So we decided to go back and pull surveillance footage to try to understand, was there anything else that this person may have eaten that they may have not remembered, right? To try to see and pinpoint what was the problem. And as it turns out, the guests have had an overdose on turkey.
Oh
So there's the typical joke that, I'm going to be wearing stretchy pants for Thanksgiving dinner because I'm going to eat until I pass out. That's kind of what these guests did. And on to top it off, you have the whole theme of the buffet, which is like eat as much as you can to get your money back. So very clearly, based on the surveillance footage that we had retrieved, that is exactly what had happened. These guests had gone and helped themselves way too many times, and that's what happened. But what is important to know about this situation is we can't stop the guests from eating too much.
No.
Whether it is at the buffet or it is at the steakhouse, that's just not going to happen. Especially at the buffet. But making sure that our team members are on point when it comes to safety regulations, following our health codes, making sure that they're trained properly, making sure that they're logging temperatures, that they are checking on temperatures at the appropriate times. So the other thing that we did as we were going through this footage was ensuring that temperatures were checked at the appropriate times, because when we went back to the F&B department, we noticed that the pages that we use, the record keeping tools that we use for engaging and recording these temperatures in very specific times per code, they were nowhere to be found. So that's when concern truly kicked in, because obviously from a liability perspective, we have to have those in record.
Mm-hmm.
And then obviously to make sure that our team was doing what they were supposed to be doing. So we went deeper into the footage and grabbed footage from other surveillance cameras. Thankfully, we had these. And we noticed that when the team member who was in charge of checking the temperature, he was several things. He was making notes on his phone instead of using the record keeping tool that we used. And there was always another team member around, and they were double checking. Mm-hmm. So we thankfully had two other points of comparison. One was we were able to speak with the other team members that were in the area when the temperature checking was happening. And then on the other hand, we were able to retrieve the notes from this team member's phone to be able to back up the temperature checks and where we were standing, which was very, very important. So I think that the huge takeaway from here is to ensure that our teams are trained in a way where they are following procedure. This is not a procedure you want to break. No. Because there is a huge liability behind it. It's not just someone who, in this case, may have eaten too much. But in other cases, there's sometimes, bacteria that build because of the lack of having the food at the specific temperature or the temperature chain breaking at some point. So the takeaway here is the importance of following proper procedures.
Oh, yes, absolutely. And making sure you're asking the appropriate questions, too, when there's a claim. Where did you just arrive to the hotel? Were you traveling today? Have you ate anywhere else in the last 3 days? Also, too, knowing more of the backstory, where the guest has been.
Yes, most definitely.
Yes.
Great. So what are you going to delight us with, Stephanie?
So for mine, it was check yourself before you wreck yourself. Because here, same thing with the buffet. And then for the utensils. So making sure that you're having your gloves before touching the utensils. So here, there's a lot of new signage that is being on the displayed at properties, whether it be, the new policies and procedures or health safety, even if there is new amenities and services that are coming out. But anything that is being displayed is making sure that you are going through spell check and checking that the signage is all correct. And even, nowadays technology sometimes may not catch a certain way a word is spelled because it may think it's a different word. So utilizing your colleagues as well to proofread before you're displaying it in front of the guest. As you can see here, the sign was displayed out onto the buffet.
Yes, my question is, where are the utensils?
I
think this is crucial, and especially because we're coming out of COVID, or we're kind of still in COVID. There were a lot of new signage done in a very short period of time, and as a result of new regulations and regulations in various regions changing constantly, so signage is being replaced constantly. It's so important to make sure that we double check what we're putting out there, because it does make our brand look terrible when we do.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely. And then even here, so the picture's cropped, but the gloves are actually right below this picture. But then, how many times is it too where they're saying, hand sanitizer for you to be able to use, and then there's no hand sanitizer and it needs to be refilled. Or even in this situation, making sure that the gloves are fully stocked for the guest. Because that's another thing. Your signage is saying something, and then you're not having that available for them either.
Yes, and a trash can at the end of the line so that they can dispose their gloves.
Yes.
And you don't have gloves sitting everywhere from then on.
No. Oh, that just reminds me of, at front desk when they give you sometimes a fresh hand cloth to be able to wash your hands, sanitize your hands upon arrival, and then where is the guest going to be discarding it? And then also too, as an employee, making sure that you're protected as well, not just grabbing the discarded cloth either, but having either tongs or gloves as well. And then, or there's no trash can by there either, and now you're just having a bunch of different debris all over your front desk and lobby.
Yes, great point. What do we have next?
All right, so now we wanted to also too be able to let our viewers know about some added tips as we prepare for this holiday week and weekend for hotels, with our experience many years into different departments and knowing some things that we may forget. What happens when we get into those rush of the holiday crowds and guests that are coming in. So here we just want to be able to give a few added tips, like with making sure that you have enough quality of your rollaway beds, cribs, pack and plays, all those extra amenities that families are requesting, because usually it'll be Wednesday is the major arrival day for everyone traveling in for that Thanksgiving weekend. And then it'll be those guests that are arriving at 9-10 o'clock at night. And, it'll be the family of 4 that needs a rollaway and a crib. And then you go to put it in the system, and the houseman then goes and sees in the closet they don't have any. And now what are you going to do for those guests that are arriving later in the day and already have been traveling with their kids who are ready to go to sleep? And now you don't have enough of the product available for your guest.
Yes, the other thing that I would say is be mindful of the fact that these guests that travel during holidays are choosing your brand.
Yes.
And if they're choosing your brand, you have to make them feel like they're at home. So that is a must in our industry. That's what we do. We make people feel like they're at home. However, in the holidays, it makes things a lot more special. So when you get to the hotel and you're checking in and you ask for that rollaway bed or you ask for that crib, let's talk about cribs for a second. What happens when our teams don't check, not only to make sure that the crib and the rollaway are available, but also that they're clean?
Yes.
Cribs are not being used day in and day out, like perhaps rollaways. Rollaways have a lot more traffic, but cribs are not. And what that results in, there's dust buildup, and nobody wants to put their baby in a dirty crib.
No.
So ensuring that our teams are preparing for the holiday rush and making sure that these additionals or these extras are in good conditions, are in working conditions, and they look clean and ready to deliver the message that you want to deliver and the way your brand was said to be represented. So I think that's important as well.
Yes, no, absolutely agree. And then, you know, even with the, just not the amenities, but you're going to now have the families, they're going to want extra towels and extra sheets, extra pillows, and making sure.
Extra blankets.
Yes.
For the ones that come from Vegas, that is always hot.
Yes, or robes, because everyone in the family now has to have a robe for pictures. And so with all of that, of making sure that you're fully stocked in preparation, that, you know, seeing on that Wednesday and even Thursday and Friday, you're going to have lots of requests for that. And you may not be able to get your linen back if you're outsourcing it until that following Monday. So making sure that you're fully stocked ahead of time to be able to accommodate the guests' request of basically wanting to build a fort in their room.
Exactly.
And then
what about dry cleaning?
Yes. So dry cleaning, you know, if you're working with a outsourced company for your dry cleaning, and usually it's like, okay, items out by 10 a.m. and then they'll be delivered back at 6 p.m. Or if you've now picked it up after 10, it'll be the following day that you'll be able to get your items back. But, you know, with Thanksgiving following on a Thursday, is making sure of the outsource vendors that you work with, are they going to be still on schedule of how their delivery schedule is, you know, with it being a food product, the laundry, and then even your own laundry as well with towels and linen. How is this going to look, not just on Thursday too, but is the schedule going to be affected for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday as well?
Yes, which leads me to not so much of a tip, but in the spirit of sharing our WTF type of moments, it leads me to this short story. There was a brilliant bride who decided to hang, she was getting married on a holiday weekend. And obviously, dry cleaners are limited, linens, anything that has to do with a vendor on a holiday weekend, we all know they have limited hours or they have adjusted hours. And our brilliant guest wife was, guest bride was decided to hang her dress. Imagine how heavy a wedding dress is. And she decided to hang her dress from the little sprinkler head in her room. Brilliant. So she hanged it, and we had 4 floors below her, like her floor and 3 floors additionally, completely wet.
Oh my gosh.
She set off the entire system.
Oh my gosh.
We had to evacuate all of those guests, move them to a different tower. Thankfully, it wasn't crazy at that point, but a lot of the guests that were due to come in had to be walked to another property. So we lost the revenues. And it was crazy. It was crazy, right? So what did we learn from that one? We learned that our bride to be wasn't that bright. We learned that you can never make things silly proof enough. So we had our marketing team put together these cute little stickers with a funny messaging on them. So we had to glue all the stickers by every single sprinkler head in the 3 towers. And I'm talking thousands of rooms.
Oh my gosh.
From then on, so that people wouldn't do this, wouldn't use it as a, hanging device. And the other thing that we learned is that our front desk team was prepared, and they had an alternative to the dry cleaning vendor that we would normally use, because our beautiful bride still had to get married. So we had to process her dress very quickly, and it wasn't just her dress, it was the dresses of the bridesmaids that were on the same floor in adjoining rooms, and the upset guests that we had on the rest of the floors where their rooms were flooded because the system was triggered.
Oh, wow.
That was awesome. That was definitely a WTF type of moment. Like, why would you do that?
Yes. Oh, geez. Yeah. But yeah, making sure with you having those alternative vendors that, in case you do have those last minute scenarios of, working with your concierge, so then they know where they can be able to direct the guests. Wow, what a crazy story.
See, we haven't seen it all.
I know.
There's always something new. It's
crazy. I know. Yeah, I can't wait until we see the comments too of what goes on this holiday weekend.
Yes, definitely.
So moving along, here with the glasses and juices, having a welcome beverage. So we know that the lines at the front desk are going to be long, especially on that Wednesday for arrivals. And then you get into the guests are all here, but now they want change. Their room key's not working. They have different questions. And so here you're able to occupy the guest mind. It's a very Disney trick, I guess you could say, is being able to have this welcome beverage, have it be an authentic to your location. So, us in Miami, we would do something very tropical, up in New York, some like hot cider, apple cider, those types of beverages, to then being able to offer to the guests to occupy their time while they're waiting in line at the front desk.
Yes, that's a great one. In areas like Wyoming or Northern Nevada, or in Northern California, in some of those areas, or Washington, Oregon, where we do see some snow and we do see some low temperatures towards the holidays, we tend to switch our beverage during those high peak times of checking to hot chocolate. It's something that we can, I've had actually 3 or 4 hotels where we did hot chocolate for anyone who didn't want any alcohol in their beverage. And then we had little shots of whiskey that they could add to the beverage while they waited. And it was super neat because they would get it, our guests get engaged in focusing on that as opposed to focusing on the line and how some of our bigger hotels may look and feel like a train station. So we deviate some of that look and feel into something more pleasant and more memorable, and guests are now having fun with it. This is a great tip, Stephanie. Thank you for that.
Yeah. And then on the bottom here, with the activities that are going on citywide, or also to at your property as well, because this is going to be great to kind of be able to pre-assume what times the guests are going to be out off property. So in New York, we always knew that we're going to start seeing the guests leaving the properties around 6:37, so they're getting their prime viewing of the parade. And then we knew we would start seeing them coming back around 12:30, and starting to get ready for their Thanksgiving dinner. And then if we had properties that were having the buffet, knowing, okay, they're going to be out again. So that's when we could making sure that we're staffed up with our housekeeping team, so we can go in there and being able to do the stayovers, or that's when we're going to get a lot of the requests of needing more towels and in preparation for them leaving again.
Yes, definitely. And also, if you are printing anything, just make sure that the prints reflect what's truly happening. Make sure that your concierge team, if you don't have a concierge team, your front desk, they are aware of the times for public transportation, if there was a need to get to those areas where these activities are going to happen, because you have to have that information handy, as opposed to having, your guest either have to find it on the internet or have to go in while the guest is there waiting. Always being a step ahead of what's going on and anticipating our guest needs is most definitely our recommendation always.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Check yourself with that spelling.
Yes.
And then over here to the right is, so we know there's we're still going into some staffing shortages. So maybe some of our amenities aren't still fully up and running, or stayover service, we're not doing it, or we're doing just light tidy touch-ups. But this is a great way of creating a welcome letter for the guests, to informing them of hours of operation, for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, if you have on property restaurants, also too, if you're having a fitness center, spa, those types of things, reminding the guests to making sure that they're reserving ahead of time. And then with housekeeping too, what is your standard for during the holiday weekend? Are you back to full service stayover? Are you doing just limited, or no service at all, or service upon request? And this is a great way to be able to inform the guest ahead of time, so you're eliminating those calls. And then the guest comes back to their room at 4 o'clock and they're saying, I'm getting ready for dinner and my room hasn't been cleaned yet. And maybe there's someone also too on the other end of that telephone that didn't know that housekeeping was only doing limited service or no service, and now the guest is getting the wrong information as well.
Yes, and while you're on that welcome letter, make sure that you add your extension numbers, whether it is to your front desk or to your housekeeping department, whoever it is that is going to receive that call that you're making reference to on the letter.
Yeah.
Add the extension number, because you would be surprised the amount of guests that don't know how to call out into one of our departments, even when you have a button that has a little drawing and that exactly says what department that is. You would be surprised of the amount of guests that come to our desk and tell us, I just didn't know where to call. And you're thinking to yourself, well, okay, and there was that little button that had that little person on it that said front desk. Yeah. So it's, do yourself a favor and allow your guests to have that information handy, so they don't have to be looking for it on the telephone or not looking for it at all.
Exactly. And our last thing here is review. So, all right, we've just got through the craziness of the holiday weekend. Most of us will start then taking off Monday and Tuesday, but set yourself a goal to then review the good and the bad that happened during the weekend. So what went well?
And making notes, right? How many times do you have new leadership that says, oh, this is my first year?
Yeah.
Or I wasn't here last year.
Yes. Well, and this is a great reference, because now they're going to be able to now reference. And we know a lot of the guest behavior, it has changed dramatically since, say, Thanksgiving of 2019. And so this is a great way too. So now when we're going into, say, 2022, we're now be able to see, okay, what happened for the last Thanksgiving. Also too, the holidays in December, they're all following on the weekend. So we're going to be able to see how Thanksgiving weekend went, so that we can better prepare for how the holidays in December are going to be with the guest.
Yes, definitely. Wonderful. This was a great, very fun and insightful review of how to prepare for our Thanksgiving holiday. And I think that it's something we can use as a reference for any holidays to come.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You'll be surprised what we bring up for December. Well, this was great. Thanks again, Michelle. And guys, let's connect. If you want to be featured on our show, talk about your WTF moments with walking the floor, and also too any tidbits that you want to be able to share from your experience of working during those lovely holiday weekends. Reach out to us on LinkedIn, and also too, here is our contact information.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Stephanie. If anyone out there needs quality evaluators, you can reach out to us. If you need help with process improvement or training, feel free to reach out to us as well. We'll make sure that we make training fun and delightful for your team members, so they can start creating some memorable experience, and we can start eliminating some of those WTF type of moments.
Perfect.
Thank you, everyone. Happy Thanksgiving.